What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Let's Do a Podcast. I'm Ryan,
And I'm Anthony.
and well, I was about to jump into the movie. I don't know why.
You getting a little holy or something?
Yeah,
It's like
and
you
let's get into the
you gotta
movie.
warm things up a little bit before you're gonna just jump right into the movie. Come on.
It's like we took a break or something. We really didn't. Um, I'm so like scattered all of a sudden. I don't know what happened. Let's just get into beer and then we can start talking. I think I need a beer.
Been a week, so
Yeah, we're recording this actually like the day before this comes out, and so it's Monday, and I'm ready for a beer already. So, I did I always forget the name of the app. Well, like Tavor, the beer.
Taver,
yeah, the beer crate app. I finally got my shipment in, which I bought way too much, but I got Other Half Brewing, Gouda.
Ooh, does it taste like? Is it a cheese beer?
There's no cheese in this beer, but
Good.
Double dry hopped IPA, of course, and yeah, Other Half Brewing is in New York, if I remember correctly, Brooklyn, New York. Yep,
New York City.
New York City. Citra, Strata, Comet, and Eclipse hops. Very zesty pineapple. Eclipse is a new Australian variant that has a lot of sweet orange and fruit flavor. So I'm really excited about this one.
Fruit flavor.
Anything that I've ever had from Other Half Brewing has always been really good. So I'm excited. I picked up a few things from them, so it'll be enjoyable. Oh, and you can see Bernie.
It's Bernie.
Yeah. So Anthony, what are you drinking, sir?
So I'm drinking. I had a friend of mine recommend this, and I've never had anything from Real Ale Brewing Company, or at least not that I remember. But I'm drinking Black Quad from Real Ale Brewing. So their description is as follows. They say, once only found by I'm going to do movie voice here. Once only found by the intrepid hunters of our brewer's cuts, Black Quad. This guy right here. Now it deservedly finds its way into our year-round lineup. This ale was inspired by the most August of Abbey brews and is a mystery worth exploring. A bounty of dried fruits, subtle roastiness, and a surprisingly dry finish combined for an ale of delicious, dark complexity. All of this is complemented by the spiciness and fruit character provided by our house Belgian yeast strain. Join us in paying tribute to our monastic brewing tradition. So, yeah. Did you have a beer from like a monastery just recently?
Yeah. Actually,
I guess this is kind of like that. Yeah. I thought this was a stout, and I'm just realizing now this is a Belgian quadruple. So
I expect you to drink the whole thing too.
Oh God, no.
And no, there's no wimping out on me here, Anthony.
Oh no. But so flavors for this, they're saying dark, sweet, smooth, strong, malty. Belgian. Tastes like waffles.
I'm interested to know what you think, because I've had quite a few stuff from them before.
Crack this baby open.
Ooh, that was a good one.
Smells great. Let's see
here. Does it smell good?
Yeah, mine out for our homies here.
Mine smells pretty good too. I'm excited about this. While he's pouring, I think I'm finally kind of getting my head back of how to podcast. It's been a crazy 2 weeks. But I mean,
yeah,
dude, that looks so dark. Like, really, I feel like if you wouldn't have told me it's a Belgium, I still would have thought it was like a stout or a porter.
Yeah, right. I totally thought it was a stout.
It's so dark. But
tell you, it smells great too. It's everything they say. It's got that spiciness and fruitiness in the aroma.
Nice. Yeah, mine's It smells very strong too, and yeah, my flavors are pretty delicious too.
I will say this is a favorite already.
Oh,
We're starting.
wow.
We're starting on a good foot here.
He just took
It's like
one sip and he's like, "Yup."
we'll see if I get tired of it. But like I'm okay with Belgians. I've got a complicated relationship with Belgian beers. This is probably one of the better ones I had, at least on the first on first taste here. So hey,
Nice.
I'm doing so far so good here.
I love the can though. I love that it's just a bunch of cheese, a bunch of
Yeah.
Gouda.
Is it like a smoky flavor to it? I'm just like wondering what the Gouda reference is.
Yeah, it didn't say on Untapped, or if it did, I read right by it.
It's
Let's
Gouda
see.
for you.
And selected hops, notes, or is it pine needles? No, I mean, I I don't know why they picked the name Gouda because I read Untapped before we started. I didn't see it, and I was just like, I don't know why, but I think it's cool. Like,
Yeah. Hey,
but
how about
yeah,
it?
but yeah, my few sips so far of that beer is pretty good. Again, though, I haven't had much bad stuff from them.
Yeah.
But so we're doing I know we usually do beer news. We're still doing beer news, but we're gonna change it up a little bit. We got beer news and movie news since
Is it movie beer news or beer
Huh?
movie news? Is it movie
Yeah,
beer movies?
beer movie news. Yeah, I don't.
So we could beer news, movie news, beer news.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that confusing? It's not confusing, is it?
It's always confusing. It's us. It has to be confusing.
Doing it right.
That's right. So Anthony will be doing the beer news, and then I'll jump in, talk about some movies coming up, some movies that have come out, just random movies that I've looked up. So, of course, they will all be current movies, not necessarily ones that we have watched. Maybe we have, maybe we haven't, and maybe we can discuss a little bit. I figured it'd be a nice
candidates
segment
for future episodes.
Yeah. Through looking through it, I was just like, oh, we need to do this movie, so I'm not going to talk about it yet. So, all right, Anthony, what you got for beer news, sir?
All right, so beer news. I have beer events. Beer news and beer events. I'm going to call those the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But beer events. So this week on the Friday, the 14th, near miss there. We have out of Tupps Brewing in McKinney. They got the full grown comedy show, adults only. So don't bring your kiddies out there if you want to go see a comedy show with the rolling cigars. So I don't know anything about those people, but hey, it sounds fun. Bring a tank top because it may be still warm there. I don't know if they've opened their new facility yet.
I don't think so. I was looking
at beer news.
I was actually looking at today. It looks like it's not open yet.
Oh, there is beer news. Maybe I'll go back to that real quick here in a minute. But on Saturday we have some beer. We have a couple of beer runs actually going on out at Funky Picnic. They have a Run Hard Brunch Harder 5K social run. $45 per person. Also in Martin House, they have a beer run. Go to their website for details. I'm not sure if there's a fee for that or if it's just part of their social run club. So many clubs, so many of these breweries have like social run clubs now. You got to like run to earn your beer, which I'm down for that. I need to start doing some of these. I have not run outside since I did my marathon. I've only run inside because A, it's getting warmer down here, and B, I am just like taking a break. So,
yeah, I mean, you deserve it. That's a lot.
But it's been a month and a half for me at this point. So, moving on. So Hop and Sting Brewing Company on Saturday. They also have their Spring Jamboree with live music, food vendors, and $2 every beer for patrons wearing a Hawaiian or tie-dye shirt. Hey, $2 off beers, and their beers are good. So
yeah, that's a good one.
Particularly if you're a fan of the IPA variety, or even some of their stouts, Frisian Underworld, pretty good.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday, we've also got Sour Sundays at Division Brewing. I guess that's a every Sunday thing. I don't know.
I think it is.
Yeah, but going further out here, We got Melted Cookie Dough Beer launch at Martin House on April 19th. We also have 420 coming up, everybody. Out at Flying Saucer Cypress Waters, they got the 420 Crumble Cookies flight that they're doing. So if you want to have 420 crumble cookies, maybe that's the place for you to go. Power Sour, a 420 beer and gummy collab at Martin House on the 20th of April. Moving on out, we have the where is the what day was the beer? Did I skip over where the beer fest was? Oh man, the Big Texas Beer Fest is coming up on a. Was it on April 15th? I saw it.
I think
I
it
talked
already
about
happened,
it earlier.
right? Didn't it already happen,
Big
or am I
Texas Beer
mistaken?
Fest. It is coming up. I've said it so many. I've said it like repeatedly because I was making fun of how they listed it on here. They said it was. They said it was. They listed the location as the name of the event. But hey, that's coming up. I think it's still coming up. It's not happened yet. So keep an eye out for that. I may be wrong. Hopefully, I'm not lying to you guys. Where I will be, Hops and Props, April 29th at the Fort Worth Aviation Museum. Always a favorite. Denton County Brewing has their 6th anniversary party on the 29th. 8th anniversary party at Four Bullets on May 6th. Also, 8th anniversary party at Tups on May 6th. A lot of breweries have the same birthday. It's really interesting to me. 903 Brewers, 10-year anniversary on May 13th. And then Celestial has their Venus Fest coming up on May 13th. I also know, unless they've decided not to have it this year, which I don't know why they would not have it. I know that Sour Fest is coming up pretty soon as well over at Martin House, but it doesn't look like they've established a date for that yet. So get ready.
So April 15th is Big Texas Beer Fest.
It is April 15th. Okay, I must have just been like blazing past it.
I do that all the time.
I saw it and then I don't see it. What is up with me?
Who knows?
Oh well. But like in beer news though, so there is beer news. Howling Mutt is closing their brew pub in Denton. They just recently announced, they're ceasing operations in Denton. They've been open since September 2019, and now they're closing up shop there. Unfortunately, sad to hear that.
That is sad. It was a cool spot. It was a really cool spot.
But Grapevine, Main Street Fest, they've announced their theme, which Main Street Fest, I haven't done that since 2019. I enjoyed it last time I did it. They've announced theirs. It's called A Taste of Texas, the brews of the Lone Star State. What did they say what day it's going to be on there? Hop and Sting, of course, is going to be a big player in that. But they are planning to have that on May 19th through the 21st. So also recommend highly Grapevine, Taste of Texas, their Main Street Fest. It's always fun.
I love the Grapevine downtown area. It's such a cool area.
Yeah. Did we ever talk about Voodoo Brewing?
I don't think so.
No. They're opening a franchise brewery down here in Texas as well. So, they're based out of Pennsylvania. So,
yeah, I know that I know who they are. I just, I don't think we've ever really had or talked about them.
Yeah, we got some franchise breweries coming to town here. So, we'll see how they fare in the Texas beer market there.
Yeah. Do you know where they'll be?
It does not say. It does not say.
Well, hopefully it's up in your area so you can try some and we can talk about that.
I'll drive over an hour for beer.
Listen, we've definitely around here we've driven a long ways just for beer, so I'll continue to
have a DD. I'll be good.
Right. All right, so we're gonna move on to movie news. I don't know. So, of course, I'm going to talk about the first few are going to be movies that are already released that, one, I want to see and seem to be doing pretty decent. So, of course, I feel like I have to start off with the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
I wanted to see that so bad this past weekend. I have like a Luigi costume. I wanted to wear it
Oh,
to
that
go
would have
see
been
Mario this
awesome.
past weekend, and I went to go see. I don't know if you're going to talk about this one, but I went and saw the Dungeons and Dragons movie this past weekend, and I saw people dressed as Mario and Luigi, and I was like, "Oh, that could have been me.
I should
I
have
could have
done
been
that.
dressed as Luigi."
Um,
But my wife did not want me dressing as Luigi for Easter dinner or Easter brunch rather before we before we went and saw a movie. So
well,
I would
that's
have
no fun.
I would have had fun dressing as Luigi and having Indian food. It would have been great.
It
So
would have been awesome.
yeah.
But so they have already hit $377 million since coming out, which
I
is
guess they're doing better than the last Mario movie.
yeah, they
Which we have not done that one. We should probably put that on our list too.
we probably should. Um I know I've seen a lot of even the actors were like, we don't know if it's gonna be a good movie. Like I feel like everybody was kind of worried. But it
Yeah, from
ended
the
up
company that brought you Minions.
yeah, like there's a lot of I mean, there's really big actors in this movie. So they definitely didn't spare any penny to make this thing. I haven't seen it yet, but just, even from the trailers and all the things that I've seen, I mean, it looks really good. It seems really fun. The score is 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb. I This is definitely going to be one that I'm going to watch. I was unsure at first whenever it was talked about, but as it's gone on, I'm like, yep, I want to see this. What
I'm
you got?
curious what your thoughts are on Mario. With so the guy Chris Martinet has voiced Mario ever since like the 1980s in every incarnation except for like the Super Mario cartoon where they had a live action Mario there. And I want to know what your thoughts are on Chris Pratt playing the animated Mario rather than Chris Martinet.
So to me, it's Chris Pratt playing Mario.
Oh, kind of
So
like The Rock, how The Rock plays The Rock playing
yeah,
Black
so
Adam.
I mean, so at first you hear whenever they first even were talking about this movie, and we found out it was Chris Pratt. I even was kind of up in arms, was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's so weird. And then you hear the voice and you're like, oh, so it's kind of like they at least let you hear the voice so you can prepare yourself for the voice of Chris Pratt being Chris Pratt.
It's funny because it's funny to me because like nobody's going to see this movie because they like not a lot of people are going to see this movie because Chris Pratt's in it. They're going because it's Mario. You could have had Chris Martinet, the guy who's done the voice ever since ever,
Yeah.
do the voice, and I don't think you would have seen like any dip in the take for this movie. They could have probably had that much more profit for the movie.
Yeah, I
They
think
had just
people
got the
would
guy
have
who's done the voice since ever.
I think people would have been like, "Oh yeah, this is like real Mario," and I don't know. Maybe they would grow even faster. It's my opinion.
Oh, but I also think the fan community probably would have found something different to complain about. So.
Truly.
But
So
it does seem like Charlie Day, who plays Luigi, has caught the spirit of it. Jack Black, who plays Bowser, has definitely got the spirit of the character. It seems like so.
yeah,
Just
seems
based
like
on the trailers. So
yeah, it very much seems like it's casted pretty well. Besides the
yeah,
Chris Pratt, which is kind of a up in air.
yeah,
But it seems like most people aren't happy. But after watching it, they're not like ready to burn the place down, kind of thing. So
like plenty of other issues to worry about other than Chris Pratt.
yeah. So another one is actually a Netflix special, which is Murder Mystery 2, which that has Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston. They're like the main two people. So
yeah, from the first one, yeah.
yeah, so yeah, if you saw the first one, you might have been like me and surprised that you actually enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, because I know that was me. Like, I know my wife was like, "Hey, I want to watch this." I'm like, "Okay." So it's like I put in my mind the mental of like it's gonna be an Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah, low effort.
It
He's doing it to
was,
go on vacation. Yeah,
yeah, it was, but it still was actually really fun and entertaining. And so whenever the second one came out, I was like, "Okay, let's give it a shot." And I think it was still great. I think it was a really fun one. Um, so really, I would suggest if you like the first one, give the second one a shot. And even if you haven't seen either one, I suggest put it on while you're doing something else. Like,
yeah.
like I know my wife, she does puzzles. She likes to do puzzles all the time. So it's like we throw this on and it's kind of a good, it's not something you have to pay close attention to.
You can watch it while you're waiting for the next episodes of Love Is Blind to drop.
We're staying away this season. We're staying away. I can't do it.
I gotta
But
slip
anyways,
back in
Murder
this season. I
Mystery.
didn't watch last season, but I did watch this season. So
Murder Mystery 2 has a 5.6 out of 10 on IMDb. I feel like for a Netflix only movie, that's not that bad.
still not Adam Sandler's worst rated movie. So
that's true. That's gonna be a hard one to beat. So next is the Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Yes, this movie. Oh man, I love this movie. This is so good.
I have not seen it yet. I haven't been to an actual movie theater since I think it was The Matrix. Is the last? No, actually, we went and saw a movie with y'all. I can't remember what it was.
We saw Black Panther.
I think that's what it was. Yeah, I think it was Black Panther. So that was the last movie I saw in theaters.
Because like I remember, my wife cried during that movie. So
I did too. Man, it was crazy. But
a little bit. So
this is definitely one that I want to watch. We found a good theater here, so I think I'm going to try to go maybe this weekend or something. But I mean,
I tell you, yeah,
I've heard nothing but amazing feedback from this movie.
I find it really interesting because when it initially got started getting reviewed by critics, it was getting kind of lambasted a little bit, but it got then it got released at South by Southwest prior to its main release, and then like people who are familiar with Dungeons and Dragons or people who have played Dungeons and Dragons started seeing it, and they are the audience who fully like appreciates this. Chris Pine, one of the many Chris's. He is really great as a bard. You have like Justice Smith, who also does really well as like a sorcerer. Michelle Rodriguez, who she defies expectation. Playing a barbarian, she plays to type for her class. But so many great Dungeons and Dragons references in there. Really, you can kind of in your head, if you're familiar with how Dungeons and Dragons is played, you can see the critical successes, you can see the critical failures that happened. You can just see in your head you can see in your head the tabletop where people are playing these characters and somebody rolled a 1 and they totally failed some kind of spell or something like that. I feel like they must have the people who wrote this movie must have gone and played like a Dungeons and Dragons game and just wrote everything down and then made that movie.
Yeah.
It's like that. You could totally do that. So
yeah. And that's exactly what I've heard from, I have a lot of friends that play Dungeons and Dragons and they love the movie. Like, so that has a 7.6 out of 10. And from what I've heard, almost everybody thinks it should be higher than that. So
yeah, it should be higher. Yeah, I think it's getting dinged by some of those initial reviews where it got bombed a little bit. But I think since then it's gotten a lot more buzz and it's gotten a lot more appreciation, which I think it should. I am hoping to see there have been previous Dungeons and Dragons movies, but I'm hoping there is like a Dungeons and Dragons verse because there's a lot of stories that can be told in that universe. Of the Forgotten Realms. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more. Whether or not they bring back Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez and the like, I'd love to see more of this world, if not these characters. So
yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and move on because I'm spending way too much time on this. I have a few more, which these are ones that neither one of us have seen because they're not out yet. Actually, this one just came out, but so this one is called Paint, and it is a Bob Ross story. It's technically fictional.
The character is based on Bob Ross, but it's not. I had to look. It's not Bob Ross, but it's based on like a fictionalized Bob Ross.
Yeah. So it's not really his story. It's just like pretty much Owen Wilson plays Bob Ross in a sense.
Bob Ross type.
Carl.
Yeah.
But it looks really, really interesting, and I'm very excited because this is another one I want to go see. So I suggest you guys look up the trailer and watch it, and you'll be like, yes, I gotta look at this. But this came out just a few days ago, and it's already at a 6.1, which I feel like is pretty decent. Not a lot of people, it seems like, have gone to see it. There's not very many reviews out there yet for it.
It may be a limited release before it goes wide. Yeah.
So I'm hoping to try to watch it and give some feedback because I think it could be really, really fun
Hmm.
just watching that trailer. I'm going to throw this out there for my horror fans because I am not, but The Pope's Exorcist is coming out this month as well. Which, I
I wants to
mean,
see that. Yeah.
how many more of these kind of movies do we need? But go
Russell
for it.
Crowe.
Yeah, man, if that's your shit, go for it. It's not
Yeah.
mine. And then we have a Nicolas Cage movie coming out,
I already have my tickets for this.
Renfield.
Yes.
Another vampire movie. I know I'm gonna have to go see this.
They're better. I'm just saying there better be vampires kiss references going on there. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it looks like it's a comedy slash. I can't
Like a horror
necess.
comedy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's very interesting. I haven't sat down and watched the trailer fully through. I kind of did a quick glance, but it looks really really interesting to me. He looks really good too. I mean, we're
Yeah.
used to the Nicolas Cage look, which I feel like he kind of gives the same look in the sense and everywhere. But yeah, so this is gonna be if we both see it, we might just have to do let's do a podcast early Nicolas Cage movie, but it
Hmm.
comes out on the 14th, which is this week, right? Yeah, that's
Is it
this
this
week.
week? It is this week. Oh man, I'm going to watch it at I'm going to see it at Alamo Draft House at an early showing, and they're going to have a Q&A session with this. I'm guessing it's going to be a live stream Q&A session. It'd be really cool if it's in person. I'd love to see Nick Cage in person, but
Right, that'd be
I'm guessing it's
wild.
going to be live streamed. So
But so those are my movies. Yeah, it maybe I can try to convince the wife for us to go see this. I'd be surprised. Uh, but yeah, those are the movies we're gonna talk. That's it. That's the movie news. But movie news. Uh,
oh, next jingle, I love it. You got to do it the same way, like from now on. So
no, it's gonna be one that changes constantly. Like you never know what kind of jingle you'll get.
ba-da-ba-ba-ba, it's movie news.
It's movie news. No, that'll get us in trouble with you know who. So let's move on to the movie. Yes, I know we're almost 30 minutes in, haven't even gotten to this actual movie yet. But
Movie? What?
so as you guys know from last episode, we decided what movies got us into like the sci-fi world because we're both very sci-fi people. Um Anthony's was Life Pod,
Hmm.
and mine is Stargate. The 1994 Stargate. Oh my gosh. I watched this movie so much. I still do. I always have.
But
I
prior to this, when's the last time you watched this movie? I'm curious.
actually last year. And it was probably like,
You're far better a steward of your fandom than I am.
and it's because like I go through the TV series like every
Yeah.
few years. I go through the TV series because there's so many. And then whenever I don't, I'm like, man, I don't know what it is about Stargate that just like it pops in my head so much. So
Yeah,
I'm like,
where's my life pod metaverse?
yeah, come on.
Yeah, come on.
Um, yeah. So if you want to do the quick synopsis on this guy, then yeah, we can talk about the shenanigans.
All right, let me figure out where my mouse is here. I lost it. Oh, okay, it's over there now. Boy, what is going on here?
So I'll actually go right off the
We're
bat.
doing this.
The budget for this Stargate in 1994 was $55 million, and they made worldwide $195 million. So they at least,
Profits.
yeah, they made their money back at least.
All right,
And
I got it.
yeah. All right, great. Go for it.
All right. In 1928, in Egypt, a strange device is found by an expedition. In the present days, in 1994, the outcast linguist Dr. Daniel Jackson is invited by a mysterious woman to decipher an ancient hieroglyph in a military facility. Soon he finds the device was developed by an advanced civilization and open. I was like, am I that bad? Are you leaving? I was like, I did that bad that you're leaving now.
Yeah, yeah. I had to get out of here. Yeah, it's like,
Oh,
of course,
man.
as you started, my dog was started whining. I was like, okay, great timing, I guess.
All right. Soon he finds the device was developed by an advanced civilization and opens a portal to teletransport to another planet. Dr. Jackson is invited to join a military team under the command of Colonel Jonathan Jack O'Neill that will explore the new world. They find a land that recalls Egypt and humans in a primitive culture that worship and are slaves to Ra, the god of the sun. But they soon discover the secret of the mysterious Stargate.
Yeah.
What's the tagline for? There's gotta be like a tagline for this movie. Let's see here.
Tagline?
It will take you a million light years from home, but will it bring you back? Stargate.
So yeah, like I've said many times, I watched this at such a young age, and I mean, little young Ryan was very frightened, because like the Egyptian god, like Ra, and like all of the alien people, like their eyes, and they're just kind of creepy, like scary in a sense. But at the same time, I fell in love with this movie immediately. Um, at the time, it was a very unique kind of movie. I mean, of course, we already had like Star Trek and Star Wars, like we had those, but
All the star things.
yeah, this one just was like a different take on all of that. And I think that's why I fell in love with it. I was like, oh, cool, another one for me to get deep into. That's what she said.
It's really interesting because this also seems to have like occurred right at the height of like there was like a like in the 90s there was like a bit of like Egyptian like popularity going on with like Egyptian culture because there were like at least from what I remember there was like this Egyptian exhibit that was going across the country and like it was selling out like every museum it went to. It was pretty popular. I forget what it was called, but it's kind of like that Titanic exhibit that went across the country during like right before the Titanic movie came out. And I think this was right about the same time. There was like a Egyptian like mummies and sarcophagi and all this other stuff going across the country right about the same time as this movie came out, maybe a little bit after. So it's really interesting that this came out right about the same time. I don't know if that maybe spurred the popularity of like ancient Egyptian culture or what, but it's really coincidence, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. I didn't know about any of that at the time, but um, I was glad that this led on to so many different like TV series. So I'll just kind of talk about those real quick, and then we can kind of come back to the movie. So there's Stargate, then there's Stargate Origins, and there's Stargate SG-1, like the original series that lasted from season 1 to 10. And then Stargate.
That's the one that had MacGyver in it, right? Or the guy played MacGyver.
I think so. I think that was him.
Yeah.
And then Stargate Atlantis, which was only 3 seasons, but I thought it was a blast to watch. Yeah. The Ark of Truth, which was only 1 season. Oh, you know what? Stargate Atlantis did come back for 2 more seasons, and that was it. Continuum and then Universe. So like there's all of these. Yes.
Yeah, I can't. So I've seen like episodes here and there of Stargate SG-1 because it was like very popular on the Sci-Fi channel or Sci-Fi Network for a while.
Yeah.
And then there was like a big hullabaloo when Stargate Atlantis came on, and some of the I don't know, call them TV movies, but some of the movies that they made, the 2-hour specials for Stargate, like Continuum and a few of the others. It was always really interesting to me that I had friends of mine who were really into the series, but I never really got into it after I watched Stargate as a kid. Um, but after watching this movie, I'm like, maybe I should go back and watch SG-1.
I think you really should. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like just like almost any series, you kind of give it a while, like the people that watch The Office, when they're like, it's so hard to get through. I'm like, just at least get through the first season, and then it gets better, in my opinion, because then you kind of get what's happening. I
Right.
say that about like so many shows that I watch that people are like, I can't get into. I'm like, just give it a little bit of time. Like they got to find their groove and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I would, of course, as a big Stargate fan, I would say please do, because then that'd be
Right.
something we could talk about too. Um, but I mean, I was always hesitant to get into the other ones, because Stargate SG-1, I was like, this is like the main crew. Like, I can't
Right.
imagine watching all this other crap, in my opinion. And then I think I was
It's like adds
bored.
to the lore, though, right?
It's actually during the pandemic where
Mm-hmm.
I was still worked during it, and we were dead slow, like barely doing anything. So I sat there and watched movies all in TV shows. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start Atlantis, and I did, and I just started watching all of them.
Yeah. It's
But
funny. It's funny. So the few episodes I saw, I watched with a friend of mine. This is a while ago. This is when SG-1 was still airing, and you couldn't watch it streaming. You had to get the get the DVDs of the seasons, and we were alternating watching episodes of SG-1 and episodes of the Highlander TV show, which I
it
know
all
way too
starts
much about that
blending
TV show. So
together.
yeah, so it's like everything blurs together for me. So
um, for Christmas one year, my mom wanted to get me all the Stargate SG ones. She couldn't find them, but she got them off eBay, and where they came from was China. So they were China special edition Stargate. So everything was in Chinese writing. Luckily, it was English when
oh,
I
good,
played it. Yeah, because I was just like subtitles. Like,
nice. It's like
but
all
it
in
was
Chinese, and you can read it in English.
yeah, it was really cool. Like the box set was all like Chinese and everything. I was like, this looks really cool though.
So
But
like the foil,
anyways,
the foil, the shiny foil tin box edition there.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But back to the movie of Stargate. It's I just
it's
feel like
really
I could,
interesting.
yeah. Please
It
go,
was
because
really interesting
I
me
could
seeing
talk
like
about everything.
no, it was really interesting me seeing. So like, number one. So like, I talk about Life Pod as being like one of my formative movies, like one of my first ones that I remember being a sci-fi movie. But Roland Emmerich was the director for this movie, and the second movie that I really remember at the top of my mind for like sci-fi movies is Independence Day.
Oh yeah.
And Roland Emmerich was like the creator of that movie series as well. And I had no idea that Roland Emmerich did Stargate, and like direct and like kind of like brought Stargate to life as a director there. But the other thing I found really interesting, the actors. I remembered the characters loosely. Again, this is the first time I've seen this movie since like 1995, maybe. But Kurt Russell, I was like, oh, makes sense, Kurt Russell. But James Spader, man, that guy was a baby during this movie.
Yeah.
And I think of James Spader as like this old dude, and like he was like, I don't know how old he was, maybe like in his 30s during this movie, and that was crazy
Probably.
to me.
Yeah.
Maybe 40s at worst.
Yeah, it is funny because yeah, there's a few people that like I see him in this movie that like, so yeah, Kurt Russell, James Spader, um where
French
is he?
Stewart.
French Stewart,
Yeah.
which is funny because like in my mind he's always Harry from Third Rock
From
from the
Third Rock from
Sun.
the Sun, yeah.
And so just to see him play a serious role, it always cracks me up because I'm like, that's not him. Like what?
And the ever classic Eric Avari. You don't know his name, but if there's ever a movie starring somebody from Egypt, Eric Avari is in it. He was in The Mummy. He was
Yeah.
in this movie. He was in I'm pretty sure he was in some of the Indiana Jones movies. That guy is like, if you need like an older guy who is like a scholar of like Egyptian, like ancient Egyptian, like whatever, that guy is in that movie.
He was also in Mr. Deeds.
Oh, was he? Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
He
he
was
was
like
in
with a CEO,
Planet.
was like this, like one of the company executives.
Uh-huh.
Damn,
Planet of
that
the
guy's in so
Apes as
much.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's in a lot of stuff. So yeah, as soon as you see his face, you'll be like, "Oh, this guy. Yeah,
yeah.
he's a good actor." I mean, yeah, a
You put
lot of
that guy
these
in a
people are
fez and
really,
you recognize him. Yeah,
yeah, truly.
yeah,
Um, I just, it's so hard for me almost to explain what I love about this movie because it's just so much, especially as a young kid. I mean, obviously, it had a huge influence on me.
hmm
Um, but I always, for like, even now, I'm like, I want to go through a Stargate. Like, what does it feel like? You know, like,
yeah. Is that what
um,
really caught your attention by that? Is like the possibilities of like the Stargate?
yeah. I mean, I've always been a huge nerd when it comes to space. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
and I think that's the influence from my grandpa because he worked at NASA, so he would always tell us
hmm
stories about like all this cool stuff, and so I've always had such fascination. So I think that's why I love Star Trek. I love Star Wars and I love Stargate, but just the thought of like not necessarily having to like, get in a ship and go to these places. You literally can walk through this water portal thing and boom, you're there. Um it just that's what I loved about it. It's just a whole new world of space travel
Right.
and exploring. So I mean, if I could, I would explore space. No doubt. Which is funny because I hate like the ocean, like under the ocean,
Right.
because I don't like the unknown down there for some reason. But space, I'm all
Yeah.
for it. Like, doesn't make sense.
Good old thalassophobia there.
Yeah, I hate it truly.
Dislike
Um,
of the deep.
I will go on boats. I'll hang in on boats, but do not ask me to put my feet in that water. So
Well, you don't want like a giant squid like just kind of grabbing you there.
no. I
There's so much
think
creepy stuff down there.
that's it. Is like it's the fact that we know there's really scary shit down there.
Yeah.
That's what draws me away. But space, we have no clue.
Oh yeah, that's
So
even less known. Yeah.
yeah, so it's just like cool. I'll deal with space versus the ocean. But
Yeah, they're like people are like, oh yeah, we know like 1% of what's in the ocean. It's like, well, we know less than 1% of what's in space. So
truly,
like a
but
millionth of 1%. Yeah, and that's being generous.
yeah. Um. So I say let's go ahead. I know we've been all over the place, but let's go ahead and talk
Right.
about the likes and dislikes.
All right,
Um.
Brian, give me your
So,
likes. What do you like about this movie?
oh, that is so hard. I do have to say, I know I kind of talked about it, but my favorite thing truly is the actual device, the Stargate device. And I love that this movie, it's not necessarily about, hey, we found this device. We're in a new planet. Let's explore this planet. Instead, it's let's figure out this device and like
Right.
how does it work? And like I think that's what I like too, is because whenever I find something new or something interesting, I like to learn everything about it.
Mhm.
And so it kind of, I think, like scratch that itch of like, oh, we found this device and how does it work? And you see oh crap, what's his name? Dr. Oh,
Is it Jackson?
Jackson, thank you. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. It shows him like spending like forever just deciphering all this code, and so it's like
Or that he
you get
shuts
to
down some of the other guys. It's like, yeah, you're dumb. It's like this is what it
yeah,
actually means.
yeah. Um, so I just love that you kind of get to see the full process of finding something new and exploring it before you even actually get to explore where you are and like where it's gonna
Mhm.
do. So and then vice versa. Like once they're there, like it's learning the culture on top of trying to learn and figure out what the symbols mean. And so I don't know. I just really loved that you got to see, in my opinion, like the it's not necessarily about the destination, but it's getting there. Um, so I think that is probably my favorite thing about this movie is it's not just we found this device, like it's just doesn't start off of we have a new device, let's walk through it. you know, it's they took their time getting there.
Yeah. The thing I liked about this movie was the its use of our knowledge that we developed over the past like maybe like at that point 70 to 100 years of ancient Egyptian like just like civilization, and just like to just ask the question, what if that was still a thing? What if that was like still a thing on another world? And like kind of like instead of like a lot of movies would do this and like make it like time travel. It's like what if we like went back in time and like and to Egyptian civilization, but they changed it to like, what if the Egyptian civilization still existed for reasons on another planet? But it was really interesting to kind of like take us there and kind of show the difficulties of like trying to communicate with this other civilization who is like it's like extremely we're separated from the civilization by like 3,000 years, right? Even though it's like happening concurrently with our civilization. I found it really interesting to kind of like highlighted the difficulties in communication, which were surmounted rather easily because of just Dr. Jackson's experience, expertise in the field of hieroglyphics and kind of like just like simple like exchange of language there, but expedited for plot reasons, so acceptable in my opinion.
Right.
But the I just really enjoyed that. Like it's like almost like a fish out of water story there. Um, I thought that was I just thought it was really cool because it's like it's like that modern. It's almost it becomes like a time travel type story though, where you have like modernity meets like
Mhm.
the ancient world, and like how does that work? And then you have like the whole alien element coming down there from the with Raw being the ultimate like antagonist in the story. So like the interaction of the main plot elements there, I thought was really cool. And that was the thing I really liked about this. It's like the main plot elements meshed very nicely. I thought that was
Yeah.
really great.
no, obviously I agree. Um,
Yeah.
um, so the dislikes for me, it's I feel like it's kind of a nitpicking kind of thing, but just the the military people in this
hmm
were very annoying.
Yeah.
And like it's not like it's so over exaggerated that it's just so bad. um
Can I tell you something?
yeah,
Like, unless these guys were like a special operations unit, which I would hope they would send a special operations unit
I would
there.
assume so.
Yeah, but these guys, the way they acted, it struck me as like they were just like your basic line unit of like maybe infantry guys or like camo or whatever. They acted like your average military like platoon would. The way they
Oh,
acted was like that's just how these guys act in these situations. I felt it might having done my time in the army. I was like, this is to be expected. So
okay. Well,
I was like,
that's
this is completely within the expectations of their behavior there. I thought it was really interesting.
I think just like in my mind, like you said though, of like it would have to be such a special team. Like
Right. I would
just
hope
like I
so.
don't know. I just feel like it would be such a tight group in a sense of like they wouldn't do the stupid shenanigans that they do because it's
Right.
like they
You would hope
they
they wouldn't send Joey Bag of
obviously
Donuts to like another planet just like as the
yeah,
first team there, right?
because I was like, did they just look at the new hires like, oh, this guy just came in, let's bring him in, because they're just like
Right.
goofing, shooting the shit. I'm just like, I don't know about you, But if I were to travel to a completely different world, I wouldn't be acting this way. Like, I would be like on top of my shit. I'd be super cautious and like aware of my surroundings, but they were not. They were complete morons. Not all of them, but quite a few of them. Um,
Hmm.
and I don't know, like, just the acting was off. I mean, I get the whole thought process of like, oh well, the army guys are just here to blow shit up. I get that aspect, but it's just like at least make them feel a little bit more intelligent since you kind of like we said, you had to pick them to go onto this mission. Like they
Yeah.
weren't just newbies that you threw on and were like, "Oh, you're doing the worst in your platoon. Come join us.
Right.
Adventure into a new world with us and be
Yeah,
dumb."
it's like these are the guys that they could spare if they if they got stuck on another planet. We wouldn't miss these guys.
Yeah, so I don't know. To me, like it was again, it wasn't necessarily like the actors' faults. I think it's just like how they had them act and the way it was written was just like, okay, I get what they were going for, but it just I don't know. I feel like it didn't really match the rest of the movie.
Yeah, I based on the fact that I think this happens in Cheyenne Mountain. I think is where the ring is at the Stargate. I have the feeling that the untold story is that they went and grabbed a bunch of guys out of Fort Carson, which is not far from the Cheyenne Mountain complex. A bunch of guys who were like they probably went to like a brigade commander or something like that, and it's like, hey, we need a detail of five to or 12 guys for this mission there. They may or may not come back. It's like, who do you got for us? And they sent those guys.
Yeah.
They sent French Stewart and a bunch of other dudes. As what it seems like to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And really, I mean, I don't think luckily I don't think it ruined the movie in any sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just the fact that
I thought it made it kind of more fun because you had like you had these guys like kind of like bitching and moaning throughout the entire process when they realized that they couldn't easily get back because he's like, well, I got to find the passcode to get back to Earth, right? So
yeah. And I mean, and I get that aspect too.
yeah.
Again, it's just like I don't know. I feel like if you look at the movie as a whole, that was kind of just like a weird part that they added in there. It was like it doesn't really match the rest of the acting and the story and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I get it. Like they're trying to make it them kind of like on the goofier side,
Right.
and all that. Like I get that. I don't know. It just for some reason it just every time I watch, I'm just like, why do they make them this dumb and like just not helpful at all? But anyway, so that's my dislike. What about you?
I would say my dislike is there's a plot string that gets dropped out there in the beginning of the movie, and that's Colonel O'Neill, Kurt Russell's character.
Yes, I know
Where
what you're
there's this
gonna
whole
say.
plot thread in there when they pull him in for the mission is like he's like so his son has died, and like you see they come across him and it's like it looks like he's about to kill himself in the beginning of the movie,
Yeah,
in his son's room. And we see this trope every now and then. It's like the guy's got nothing to lose, going in there, even though this guy's like wife is still there. It's like, is this guy gonna off himself, even though like his wife? I couldn't remember. Did he have other kids in the house, or was it just him and his wife?
just him and his wife.
Okay, I couldn't remember. But he's like looking like he's gonna like just like totally like just commit suicide right there before they pull him into the mission, but we don't see any resolution from that. We see that, and all of a sudden we see him at the Cheyenne Mountain complex where the Stargate is. We don't see him cleaning himself up. We don't because like he's like not in the military when that happens, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's out, and then we see him like he's pulled back in. But we don't see the transition there. We don't see any of his motivation getting back in. He's all of a sudden he's just like gung ho for the mission, and
yeah,
I feel like the only indication that we get that he's got like that temperament is that he's the guy who's willing to like basically detonate a nuke to destroy the gate on that side.
yeah. He's fine killing himself.
Yeah, he's fine with that, but like we don't get any other indication of that. He has no other. He like totally loses that. He totally loses that. They build up. I feel like for that moment there, the fact that he doesn't care about himself anymore, but he after that he has a self-preservation instinct where he's not willing to like throw himself out for whatever. He's dedicated to protecting the gate, but I feel like it just doesn't line up. I feel like that. So like I feel like the plot elements of that whole thing where he like his loss of his son, it didn't line up with his devotion to country and devotion to protecting the gate. I feel like those the child dying thing didn't feed into the his motivation for blowing up the Stargate on the far side there. I feel like if they had given us like this maybe impression that he had like he was just like an uber gung ho super patriot guy, then that would have made more sense. I feel like they were. I understand they were trying to pull the heartstrings a little bit with this guy who like lost everything or lost his child. He didn't lose everything because he still had his wife, but he like lost his child, and he was willing to just give it all up because of that. It just didn't line up with it didn't tell me why he was willing to just like sacrifice himself and detonate a nuclear weapon on the far side of the gate. So it just didn't line up for me. So that's my main complaint about this movie, which again, being picky, but
Yeah. And it's like it's an unnecessary thing too.
Yeah.
Because like
I feel like have the whole thing. It's like good soldiers follow orders. And it's like he was ordered to blow up the gate on the far side. He's the only guy who he trusts with it.
Yeah, like
it was the whole thing.
It was a really weird thing to throw in there. So yeah, I agree. I don't think it was necessary, but okay. So obviously we've mentioned it many of times, but we are on Letterbox, and excuse me, ear burps. And that is where we rate all of our movies now. So for Stargate, I'm typing it, looking it up now.
Stargate 94.
That is not it. Oh yeah, 1994. This is it. Okay.
Yeah.
So from 1 to 5, I'll let you rate first, Anthony, because obviously I'm going to be very biased. How would you rate this?
I would rate this as a. Oh man, this is hard. I'm between a 3.5 and a 4. Is it a 3.75?
It just does halves.
I guess I'll round up to 4.
Okay. So obviously for me, this is a 5. Just like with you gave yours a 5. So
yeah,
I think
that's true. Yeah,
we evened out on both of ours. We're doing a 4.5 to make it even. So,
nice.
Yeah, it's such a good movie. Yeah, luckily
we didn't touch on like a lot of the elements of the movie. Like we didn't even talk about like Jay Davidson who played Raw. We didn't even talk about the guys who played the different like Anubis and like Horus, like the guys who played the different like henchmen / gods. Digimon Hansu, who is in like Guardians of the Galaxy. This guy's been around for a while. He's doing this shit. Yeah. We lost Ryan.
Sorry. I just noticed it was about to fall off, so I was like, "Oh, I better fix that real quick. Don't need that falling and breaking everybody's ears." Yeah, I mean, we truly didn't touch on much because we kind of varied off of a lot of different ways, but there's just so much to this movie that leads us in so many different ways where it's kind of hard to talk about, in my opinion.
I will ask this question before we get too far past the movie there. It's like, so how much, so we touched on a little bit about the series that followed this. How much context do these series add to this movie in particular?
There's random.
Is there anything I'm missing by not watching these series that gives context to this movie?
So yeah, specifically to this movie, there's a few episodes where it kind of because I mean, the whole raw thing, it's a symbiote inside of them.
Okay.
So, which is very poorly told in this movie. It's
Hmm.
not mentioned enough. So they kind of come back up throughout the series. So in a sense, yeah, you don't necessarily need to watch the movie to get the series and vice versa. Like, but it is nice to be able to kind of like know what's going on in those very few rare episodes where they do bring them back up.
Okay.
um,
I'm still probably gonna check it out. So yeah.
yeah, I hope you do. I'd love to hear
Yeah.
what you think. So yeah, so a 4.5 for us. Obviously, if you haven't seen it, give it a look. I can't remember where I streamed it off of, but I think it was Amazon.
Yeah, I think I had to pay to watch it on Amazon. Yeah.
It's
Again, it was
free
like
out there.
I think it was like that, or I watched it on Pluto TV. I can't remember off the top of my head. So
Yeah,
it's
I know
been a
it's
minute.
free. I know it's free to stream on one of the
It
platforms
must
because
be
I
Pluto TV then. Yeah.
yeah, it must be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I recommend watching it. I have a blast with it. Obviously, I watch it more than I think most people. But yeah.
All right. Thing of the week.
Thing
What you got,
of
Ryan?
the week. So it's so hard. I feel like there's so many things that happened this last like 2 weeks. Um, but again, I'm going to do the I had something, I can't remember. The show The Traders. So it's on Peacock TV or Peacock streaming service. It's a game show. So pretty much it's like I think it's 22 people. They get together and the whole premise is which one of there's like usually 2 to 3 people that are like the traders. And
Hmm.
so they have to as a group get out the traders, but of course the traders are playing as the faithful is what they call themselves.
Right.
Um and as a quick description, it sounds not that interesting, but there's an American, there's an England, and a Australian version of this game show, and it's so much fun to watch. We knocked out the American version, and we just finished the English version actually last night. Um,
It sounds very
it's
similar to the Mole.
yes, it's similar to the Mole. It's similar to a few others out there, but there's obvious differences. A lot of different kind of games out there, but yeah, so I would recommend giving it a shot if you're looking for something to watch. So, what about you, Anthony?
All right, my thing of the week. So I recently discovered this. I came across this as I was just scrolling through Instagram Shorts, and I found this clip of a show called Peter Pan Goes Wrong. Well, it's a part of this larger series called The Goes Wrong Show, and so I'm going to read this description really quick and just kind of let you hear it here. So, The Goes Wrong Show is a British comedy. It stars the members of the Mischief Theatre Company who reprise their roles as members of the fictitious theatre company, the Cornley Polytechnic Drama Society. This is a BBC show. Uh, uh, they have the opportunity to conduct a play on live television in every episode before a live studio audience. As with the stage performances conducted, all productions and events done by the group tend to go wrong due to issues with props and stage pieces, mistakes with lines, and problematic accidents. In some cases, the play goes wrong right from the start due to a mistake setting it up. And so basically, it's this televised play every episode where either the sets are done wrong or accidents occur during the play. Now, meta wise, this is done on purpose for the comedic effect, but it's like the effect of watching basically a person doing a play their worst nightmare. I watched Peter Pan Goes Wrong. It's an hour-long play, and if you've seen a play of Peter Pan, you see people doing like the flying effects. They're up on the wires, and you see like the guy playing Peter Pan. He gets like getting flung around because the wiring's not done right. He's like flipping around. He's like whoa whoa whoa, and like bunk beds collapsing and like people not remembering their lines, and it's just like it's just laughing at the comedy of the play just not being done right, the props failing, and it's just like just the failure. It's the fun of watching something like collapse in on itself. It's really comedic. You can watch those on YouTube. They've posted the entire season on there. You can watch it free with ads on YouTube. The Goes Wrong Show. I just watched one today where it was called it was called Trial to Watch, where it's basically a courtroom drama play. And the funny thing about that is the courtroom built in there was built at maybe one quarter scale, and so everybody's like crammed into this tiny courtroom that's maybe like 6 feet across. So the Goes Wrong Show, I totally recommend it. Check it out. It's funny as hell. And that's my thing of the week.
I'll have to look at that.
Yeah.
Let's rate this beer. Or our beers, I guess. So mine is the Gouda from
Is it
other
Gouda?
half. It was very Gouda. And so overall it has an average rating of like a 4.2. I think I'm going to give it a 4.5.
Nice.
8%. I mean, listen, I haven't really eaten today, so I'm definitely feeling this. It's delicious. I really wish I would have bought a lot more of these. So what about you, Anthony? What you got?
All right, Black Quad. The average rating on Untappd for that is 3.89. I'm going to give it a 4.
Ooh.
Black Quad's pretty good. If you like, if you're not a huge fan of Belgians, I would say Belgian triples or Belgian quadruples. Try this out. It's not the heaviness of. It doesn't have the heaviness of a stout, as you would expect with Belgians. But it's a little bit heavier for a Belgian. But it's still got some of that spice, still a little bit of that earthiness. But was still that that classic Belgian flavor. I totally enjoyed it, and I would totally recommend it. So, Real Ale Brewing Company's Black Quad, totally recommend it. It's pretty good. It's a 4 for me.
That's really good.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, you can find us. Wait, did we talked about everything, right?
Yeah, we did.
Okay. It's like, oh crap. Yeah, so you can find us on Facebook at Let's Do a Podcast, YouTube's at Let's Do a Podcast, Twitch, Let's Twitch a Pod. Mm-hmm. You can find us on Letterboxd at Let's Do a Podcast, and anywhere that you listen to podcasts, you should be able to find us. But if you found us somewhere else where you normally listen, let us know. We'd love to put us there.
We'd love to know where you found us, because sometimes I don't know where I'm at. So
yeah, I'm constantly confused. Also, please leave us a review. That definitely helps us get out there a little bit more. If you have beer,
$100%.
Yes. It goes a long way, and it's free. So that's a plus.
Yep. And if you're listening to us on auto and you want to look at our mugs, we're at those places that Ryan just mentioned. We're on Twitch and YouTube, so you can see this face.
You can even see us on Facebook too.
Yeah.
If you have any beer recommendation or movie recommendation, please let us know. We always love the feedback.
Yep. We're expanding outside of Texas, so if you're outside of Texas and you want us to look at a beer and check it out, let us know. We'll check it out.
Exactly. Yep. Yes, we will see you guys in 2 weeks. If I am not lazy, I will try to remember to put what movie we're going to watch a week before we do for you guys. But till then, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Anthony.
And let's end a podcast.
Peace.
Okay, bye.